Coming up on CTV Sports, the CSU men's basketball team is back to 13 scholarship players after 2 announced their plans to transfer.
And the women's lacrosse team is rebuilding after last year's championship season. How are this season's expectations different?
Plus, we've got head baseball coach Nick Childs in the studio. We'll sit down with him to discuss the team's recent hot streak. All this and more coming up on CTV Sports.
Good evening and thanks for watching CTV Sports. I'm Steven Starcer.
And I'm Keith Albertson, filling in for Travis Green. Last week, the CSU men's basketball roster had 15 scholarship players for the 2014-2015 season, but the NCAA limit is 13. This meant that it was inevitable for players to transfer from the program. That being said, junior forward Marcus Holt announced his plan to transfer from CSU. He was granted his release from the team on Friday. This news came just a day after freshman guard David Cohn was granted his release from the team after announcing that he will also transfer. Cohn averaged 13 minutes and 3 points per game in his freshman campaign, but saw diminished playing time as Carlton Hurst developed more. Now, Stephen, one of the strengths for the Rams next season was going to be their depth. Right. How will these transfers affect that?
I think they're going to affect it a little bit. You know, Cohn was a guy that Eustace had some good words for, thinking that he might be possibly the future for CSU basketball. So he will be missed a little bit. I think they're going to miss Holt a little bit more, though. He's a 6'10" guy with a big wingspan, a shot blocker down low. I think they're going to miss him for defensive purposes and rebounding. Without him right now, the roster, 6'7" is about as tall as they get. So I think Holt's going to be missed just a little bit more than Cohn.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with Jerson Santo graduating. Holt was going to be our big guy at 6'10". But I also think Cohn, he'll be missed a little bit, but not as much, especially because I feel like the Rams are going to lean on Carlton Hurst a little bit more from the one at point guard.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Hurst is a guy who started to get better as the season progressed. I think we're all excited to see how he's going to do next season for the Rams.
Definitely.
CSU's track and field team brought home the bacon this weekend after competing in the Tom Bennick Invitational. The field portion took place in Fort Collins on Saturday and included the hammer throw, where CSU's Jake Schneeberger took first place with a throw of 59.55 meters. On the women's side, Jessica Charbonneau was dominant for the Rams, earning victories in both the shot put and the discus. Charbonneau's remarkable distance of 53 feet 0.25 inches in the shot put moved her up to 17th in the national rankings, and her final mark of 178 feet 6 inches in the discus ranks as the top distance in the Mountain West and 11th nationally. And senior Trevor Brown continued his dominance in the 110-meter hurdles. He clocked in at a time of 13.62 seconds, giving him the CSU and Mountain West record. His converted time for altitude of 13.66 seconds ranks 5th nationally. He will look to improve on that time, as will the rest of the Rams, as they compete in the CU Invitational in Boulder this weekend.
And from the stinky air that is Greeley and smoky to the smoky air in Boulder, hopefully Brown can replicate his top-notch performance. But here in beautiful Fort Collins, our athletes can actually breathe, and the women's lacrosse team is taking full advantage as the Rams look to rebuild after last year's championship season. Patrick Enslow has more on the team.
Defending national champion CSU women's club lacrosse team looks to return to the playoffs after starting 6-6.
This year, we only have 4 people who started last year starting again this year, so we have a lot of new people, which has kind of been a building process.
It's been good so far. It was a little rough at first, but as a team we came together and just kind of learned each other.
So they graduated a lot of girls, and this team is different than last year's team, and so we put on I think as much pressure as we can carry, and we've got to play to the potential of our team.
Players are really responding to first-year head coach Liz Milan.
It's just a little bit different in how she runs things. She likes to talk through things a lot, whereas last year we just did a lot of drills and stuff to fix the things we needed to fix.
She's kind of calm and collective about things rather than other coaches who are kind of more loud in their presence, but she knows what needs to get done, and she conveys it to our team pretty well.
They're not used to playing from behind, so obviously last season was really, really good. They didn't lose. They didn't really play from behind ever, so that's not something that they're used to. So right now if we go down by a goal or 2 or 3, which in lacrosse is not a big deal, it is a big deal to them. When our defense style of defense is really, really good, the D's have been playing really well, and overall just like the level of player is good. We've got a ton of good attack players, a lot of good middies that can go both ways. So when they're on, it's great.
As the Rams look towards the end of the season, they all have one game marked on their calendar.
I'm looking forward to the CSU-CU game coming up pretty soon.
We obviously look forward to playing CU just because they're our school's biggest rival.
For me, CU is a big game. I'm a CSU grad, so hate CU and would really like to beat them.
Patrick Henslow, CTV Sports.
And we wish the Rams good luck as their season continues. Hopefully they'll be able to recreate that championship season. And we're going to take a quick break now, but coming up next, we've got head CSU baseball coach Nick Childs on set with outfielder Mike Medina for an interview you won't want to miss. Don't go away.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to CTV Sports. I'm Ian Silvester, and I'm joined by CSU baseball head coach Nick Childs and outfielder Mike Medina. Guys, thanks again for joining me, and I want to talk a little bit about this conference play that's been going on lately. You guys are right now 4-4 in conference play. You took on UNC this weekend, their big rival and foe in the conference. You took the first one, but dropped the second two. Close heartbreaker games. But that first game, you guys crushed them 12-2, took a 4-run first inning. Mike, what can you tell me were some of the keys in that game from the player perspective?
Keys in that game, we stuck to our approach. We always have an approach. We preach in every aspect of our game, whether it's pitching, defense, or hitting. You have to have an approach in everything you do, and we definitely stuck to it that game, and we try to carry it over for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, you had a couple big bats in the last game this weekend. You cranked one out of deep center field. I'm pretty sure it was touching 400 feet. Can we expect another one against the Buffs this weekend?
If it was up to me, I'd say absolutely yes. But I'm going to try to carry that over. I had some good at-bats all weekend, I'd say, for the most part, and I'm definitely going to try to carry that over and maintain that process in this upcoming series.
Awesome. And Nick, from the coaching perspective, what have you liked about your team, and what would you like to see improve as you guys continue on and finish off this conference play and end the season?
You know, we've shown spurts of greatness throughout the season, and we're starting to get more and more consistent, and it's kind of just putting a whole weekend together. We seem to lose a close one here and there, but when we win big. And so that's been encouraging, but we really want to put together a full weekend.
Yeah, and so a lot of our Rams fans don't realize that CU isn't necessarily the best at baseball. Our rivalry isn't quite the same in baseball as it is in other sports. But what can we expect for this conference play against the Buffs for the second time this year?
You know, we've seen each conference team twice now, and so we're really looking forward to getting back and playing them the second series through. CU's a solid team, and we can't look past any conference opponent. When you're playing a rival, it's always going to be a little bit closer. We're going to get their best shot, and we're going to do the same. And so we're really just looking forward to finishing the season strong and jumping from second place in conference to first.
Yeah, and I also heard that this weekend is a little bit more special for you all as you have a big fundraiser this weekend. What is the Teammates for Kids Foundation, and what does this mean for your team?
Teammates for Kids, it's a charity that builds and funds child life zones in children's hospitals around the country. And what these are, it's a place where kids can go and play, kind of escape whatever illness they're suffering from at the time, and they can try to be a kid again. My cousin, who has leukemia, is a patient in the Cook's Children's Hospital in Dallas, and we're really excited for him to be out here and to be our guest of honor and throw out the first pitch. And so it should be a great day to raise some money for a great cause and hopefully have a good crowd out there.
Yeah, well, how can myself and our audience out here get involved with this foundation?
Absolutely. We're going to be taking pledges per hit for either us or the Buffs or both. And so each hit is going to accumulate X amount of dollars, however many pledges we get in. And that's how the Teammates for Kids charity was originally set up, was through the professional athletes. They said, I'm going to donate X amount of dollars per statistical category of their choice. And so that's why we chose that setup for this fundraiser. And so if you want to come out and help out, please be out there on Sunday. We play at 12 and 2 against CU. And the pre-game festivities will start about 11:45, where my second cousin, he'll come out and throw out the first pitch and be our guest of honor, and a couple other things. We'll have a silent auction, some other giveaways. It'll be a fun time.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for coming. I'm so excited for the rest of the conference play and look forward for what the rest of the season has. And well, last week you heard about Fort Collins' own bike polo team, but this city is riddled with unique teams. Stick around after the break to see an inside look at another local sport that you'd be crazy to try.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back and thanks for watching. 2.5 hours north of the United States Air Force Academy, Colorado State University has its own club sport that has students jumping out of perfectly good airplanes. Alex Cluxton has more on the story.
There's always lots to do in Fort Collins on the weekend, but if you're hanging with this crowd, spending your Saturday night in a wind tunnel is just the start of it.
Stepping into the tunnel, I always get really nervous right before I step in, but as soon as you're in the chamber, as soon as you're in the sky and you've left the airplane, it's like that you melt away, everything's way more relaxed because like you're doing it. You're already going, you can't take it back, you know, so it's actually really relaxing.
Chris is the CSU Skydiving Club president, and he loves sharing his passion with others.
Kind of went out of existence for a couple of years, and then I started it back up a couple years ago. It's really satisfying to see this big of a group of kids come down, and a lot of them it's their first time. A lot of them I've mentored and kind of, taught them skills in the air, and we've actually gone for real jumps. So it's awesome when we get a group this big to come down and fly. It's really fun.
And indoor skydiving is the perfect place to start.
It definitely gets me pumped, but I think it does give you a good feeling. It just gives you time to feel it out and feel what's natural for you. So I think it's different for everyone.
It's really, really valuable because you have a coach right in front of you. He can critique any little body movements that might be off, whereas in the sky, you're not going to be able to see that as well. And it's obviously way safer. If you get out of control in the sky, bad things can happen. If you get out of control in here, they just turn the fan off. Right, so.
And for some students, it was love at first jump.
I started with, I did a tandem over the summer in California, and that kind of just sparked an interest, but I thought it was going to be a one-time thing. And then after watching many YouTube videos of people skydiving, I wanted to start and eventually get to wing shooting.
Just the energy that I get from that and getting to see new people introduced to the sport, I love that so much. I think everybody should have this experience at least once because it's just so life-changing. And it's just like kind of a part of what I do and who I am now, and I just love it. So I think, yeah, I'll always be in sport.
For CTV Sports, I'm Alex Cluxton.
Well, Stephen, I gotta say, I think I'd have better odds of jumping out of an airplane than picking UConn and Kentucky to make the championship game.
Yeah, 7 and 8 going at it. I know it's two storied programs with a lot of good history, but I think the numbers kind of threw people off of picking them to go this year. But hey, they made it. Congratulations to them.
Yep, and UConn's up 4 at halftime right now.
Very impressive stuff. Well, that's all the time that we have for you this evening.
Just a friendly reminder to CSU students to please vote in the ASCSU presidential elections. You can vote on RamWeb between 8 and 4 on Tuesday and Wednesday.
And be sure to check our website for the updates at ctv.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.